Hello hoi kom dot ul na bel tin ha tu jan le thom pak chim na kan than halai pathian ni chan tha chan sung le kam pek lam kan throi Iran le US kong US e COVID-19 e li le ro le nak tu na kong le chen Iran ka na than na kong le Thawngpang da dang kam chim halai nan chan sung le tan e nam ka zo ton cha thank you bok se tu le jo US ram e kan thei mi chung en hubik chimpon na ka me hala te nan chan sung loi tan nen nam ka zau ton cha thank you ye se Thawngpang abdi tha te kha chimpon na ka me hala abik en YouTube le kha live in kan tha peng mi sil te YouTube a kan mai kan nol hala Facebook page se cho du sa ten kalta katim jang te Facebook page live tha hi du sa te kalta katim cha kan YouTube le ya kan kal dim halai sa sa tu liu Iran le US kalak COVID-19 e Dr.Fauci bihal nak an tu mi chen Thawngpang adang dang pon ha kan thai mi chungin te an hu bik kha chimpon na ka ni halai ni nan chan sung loi tan in nam ka zo ton cha thank you bok ase si atu liwa Thawngpang update thar te an hu bik kam chim halai sa Thawngpang lei kam kal halai che thank you we are waiting for you okay thank you YouTube lei YouTube link kha kam pyak halai te live ko tha mi kha YouTube link a kan kal halai maka abik en YouTube kha chan chautar katim misil te YouTube ko chan chautar katim mis cha kan YouTube link le kan kal te halai atu leo Dr.Fauci bihal nak an to mi COVID-19 e mor hup nak rak to mi timin pol ha kha shok shol long te rak se ma he chen Iran ka na ka pezol in ka pezol like ka like tim kong na le adang Thawngpang pol ha ka awan si lai te tu cho pakhat nak be US la Dr.Fauci e bihal nak an to mi de kha ma kha kam zom sa lai e COVID-19 e thong ni la kumkul e COVID-19 rak si e mor hup nak anak to mi la lockdown an to mi la chen 6 foot e space ti mi peruk hladin tim pul haka shok long ti rak si chu na azahan tini akan Dr.Fauci jo bihal nak an to e te ma bihal nak an to mi a chen chim ok pakam han a thailo e kai chu US phong tham pi 5th amendment in kai kham tia boy zanga rang lo achim bihal nak an to mi bial ti pun ha chu 5th amendment ma 5th amendment kha ma a khan ka beng ti ka se chu boy zanga rang lo boy khat bihal ite boy zanga rang lo bak kha ma kha 5th amendment ma khan ke bia pakhan na le na lo bakan boy zanga rang lo bak ale na mi ka se chen chung a chen Dr.Fauci he atu chu amol Fauci check amol Fauci check ke ma pol ha chu kam zo thalai kharo har bok se bia hal mi pumo ma kha bia hal nak an tu pa kha kharo har tak bak se bia hal tu zong ni zaiti ti ok zong khan thewi ti lo chen ma su se atu he Dr.Fauci thong ni la kumkul e COVID-19 รักตีมีขามาขาลีเล่รออินอตุเฮอติมิจเสมาลีเล่รออินรักตีมีขสละอตุโจใจตินาอันติเสียติเสียจันมาอันติมีอาคันใจตินาอันตัวอติเสียจัน US รำเฮลีเล่รออินพายอารักอัลปีอารักชิมนาติกเสอารักชิมนาติเสละมาปุกากำลังจะทำอะไรมั้งมามองซาบอกเสียนักข่าวฟ้าจิโจพายซาตัมปีอารักหูมิลเลียนพายซาตัมปีหูนักข่าวฟ้าจีบิฮัลนังอันตัวมีอาศินีปะลอยปะเลียงอันชัวมาพูดมาค่ะกำลังจะทำอะไรคอมเมนต์กำลังจะทำอะไรคอมเมนต์กำลังจะอะไรFacebook เห็นไปมาไลฟ์จูตามเดียวอินโหเราจะเอาตัวตรงอันตามเดียวอันอะไรจู Facebook ไลฟ์ท่าเฮกัลตักทุมากระติมรวงไปจู Facebook ใน YouTube เฮท่านชมตากระติมมีค่ะเสียจ้าจนนิวส์ก็เป็นชิมไลฟ์อัตันติมากัน Facebook ไลฟ์ก็กระท่าไลฟ์YouTube เลยเทียมมีพวกเขา YouTube เลยกันเทียมที่ท่านละมั้งเทียมเรามีจูกันจงปัตตุมันอะไรจูเสร็จDr.Fauci บิฮัลนังตัวมีค่ากำลังไงภาษาไทย
Today, Senator Peters. You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized, and you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security.
Maka Dr. Fauci ka beholding in an out kasi. Hearing to ding in an out. Snake hearing to ding in to a lawyer aken. Sini ka tila mo? Ma sini aken la ma sini pa ni kan a whole pang. A whole pang tiga rainfall ni security out ha. Security out ha be a chim loading in order apek.
We'll hold off, but you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table, and we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word. I said...
Mahit timichum atuan nang mabia ake bihal din kan out mi silo Dr. Fauci bihal din kan out mi si nang mabechim nang nol kan pilo nang makha kan herlo jun sini bechai zung slo nang ma thong chunga na ta lai ju za jun atun hu bia dai ti thu lo bia ngai dai ti thu lo na ho ri sia jun hikarum hin kan chua lai ti kha rainfall ni ti mi se
sit quietly. You are not recognized. Another word and you're gone.
Another word is you gone ti se bia ka khat na chim sia jun lenga kan chua lai
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to hear what the attorney has to say.
He is not recognized by the committee or the chair. If he speaks again, he will be removed from the room. This testimony is from Anthony Fauci. This is not a game with his lawyers. He can advise, his lawyers can give him advice. He's got a half dozen here. They're all allowed to talk to him.
Yes.
All right? But
atimi chu tu chuna hen ama Dr. Fauci a lawyer pa he bihal din kan out mi sila adu sia chen Dr. Fauci ka ruanak a cheu kho ama chimnak chang kan pila tu cha chen athutika dai ti thu salo adu sia chen Dr. Fauci ti ka ruanak ti ka cheu kho snabel tin kama he bi chonak nol ka pelo boycott bia a chimri sia chen hi ka zung chung ka cho lai ti ka se
The attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered, for a lawyer not listening to the rules.
Atimi chom ma lawyer pa he atuai achimi he nang chu lam tang a aumin se phong ning tang aumin se le Dr. Fauci kan chim nan lawyer pa he te phong bia angai lo mi no follow the rule phong pai azul lo mi pa se chu kan chim.
That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Ma kha Dr. Fauci bihalna kan tu lai antimia a lawyer pa kha a hot atam tuk cha hearing room in an chu ka se pakhana pathina ka chen Dr. Fauci e COVID-19 e mor hup nan tu lai peruk nan hat lai chen mizapi nan tong lai lo siang nang kha lai zung nang kha lai ma tipul haka sok longte araksi ma araksi ronga kan atu chu Dr. Fauci bian halite Fifth Amendment USA pong ma pumpak even him nak ding cha ma kha Fifth Amendment ti mi ma pol kha boy zanga rang lo achim ti se boy zanga rang lo achimi ma boy zanga rang lo achimi chunga chen tu hi ankro zong hardi ma kha tutana me kam zo chan hai te Dr. Fauci bi hal na an tu mi chunga
from all these terrible policies, and this is really the very first time we've seen something like something. So here too, every with the Senate and leveled with the American people, and not faced any legal consequences, even if he destroyed documents, even if he had been lying. He is done because of this pardon that Biden gave him. But instead of telling the truth, he pleaded the Fifth Amendment 111 times, and it was completely unnecessary. He didn't need to do that. It's not even.
Atimi jo atu he Dr. Fauci ni jo asol nang tu lai tia phang a Joe Biden ngai thiam na karak tua ngai thiam na pardon ti mi ngai thiam na ka tu president ngai thiam na tu kon ho chen asol to ko khasalo sina be hearing an tu mi chetin US Rama invoked Fifth Amendment US Rampia Fifth Amendment ti mi jo pumpak ikilven nak ting cha antu mi se ma kong kha achi mi se la Dr. Fauci ni voice nga rang lo achim ti se ma chu zaibian chimpo wa kete Fifth Amendment ka amham ni chu se ma he Joe's holy ni biahal nak antu mi se COVID-19 lockdown an tim ka a thok sol araksi ai.
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
Tu hi zai tha da si ti ate tu hi zai tha da si ti ka hale atimi chu kaima kapum ibin nak chung ding cha Fifth Amendment ka kamhan zaiban tok ne tai da na tua.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
Atimi jo nene tai kha zaiban tu khala da na tai che atimi jo kai chu USA Fifth Amendment in กาเวนสิที่ที่จุดที่เสียซึ่งโจสโฮลีนี่ที่มิจูน้ำหายกาอีคาร์ปัดกาใจขลาดสิ
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know, as the Supreme Court has been clear for a century.
มาข้าฮัลติกาDr. Fauci นี่เลี้ยออกเทเลอิน Fifth Amendment นี่กาคำที่เพียงสิ Fifth Amendment จูอาหาวนี่ดาเตียอาหาวนี่ดา Fifth Amendment จูอาหาวนี่ดาเตียที่จงพระอาหารจงฮะ Fifth Amendment นี่กาคำที่สิอาศัยมันตุบยาฮัลปูจงอาคัน Fifth Amendment ล้อที่ค่ะนั่นเองจังโมที่จงอา Fifth Amendment Atu ahhin nabit aku mo ti zonga Fifth Amendment. Mang bang za bakse.
The pandemic, you got rich, didn't you?
Maka hiti mi chu Joe Biden na angai tiam. Angai tiam mi hin na rok rol in na karuk cha ase. Nang chu Dr. Fauci na room. Na fierong na room.
It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you?
Pandemic wang nang chu na room chang ta.
You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally. Cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you?
Your job.
Maka an halmi ju se COVID-19 na ati. Jen COVID-19 na anti po wa US châu sa en maka paisa claim nang nan tu e nang maka case in an de pek se. Nang tu na room COVID-19 na US mapian ti de dio na room de dio na fear de dio. Million na chwa.
Question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Volker says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to...
Matiang Consulting. Kanika Chimla November 17, 2020. Ma he Dr. Fauci ni cha na ko bi se COVID-19 do nga ko mo. Ma police le Dr. Fauci ni hen li le social in Yesra ma Chungkar family Rock Ekai Low ma iton lo peruk ladin tia arak timi poka arho long ti arak si ai maka huhan timi taluk siarmi si bai karak si ai maka si manung antipo a company a kem paisa ahal na e cash in ampiak e Dr. Fauci ju cash in ampiak this year. That's Joe's holy book ni chimisu.
Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award.
900,000 cash award. Mahim. Mapi antipo akate company ni article ti adang dang pol akate paisa tingkua rang low. Mapul nakati ampiak nakasi. Cash in say makam fiermi ka. Mapul ka Joe's holy ni chimisu.
$900,000 cash award. And he got it. because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service. You've got...
My here, Dr. Fauci ni, a federal employee apply for award. Mapulka atua araktua misi iti. Dr. Fauci ni hem paisa million cash in anga tise. Tutu Joe so holy bakni nanga na fier tikase.
Actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate federal employees on...
Maka, Dr. Fauci ni, manung periat, yesarama, federal employee punaka, amhanai paisa maka, cash in ampiatisha. Mambang zasiko, hey.
Money. And the most hilarious part is that you weren't content to even dragoon them into applying for all of these cash awards. You then had them go out to the ethics agencies and ethics watchdogs and demand that you be able to get the money. That's right. We've got it in your emails. Your staff and employees on federal time.
Dr. Fauci jo amhaya we chubok alo antise. Lai hol chu ui chubak alo. Mi zo azo ngam ti lo am hai ti sen chuak di bakan. Bian hal mi pau akan. My right, Fifth Amendment. Zabia man chim lo, Zabia zong chim lo. Ni ka chung bak bian hal mi. My right, Fifth Amendment ti lo. Teka, Josie Joe so holy ni tim chu. Me fear ku. Joe Biden na ngay tem por nam fear tuk sa da kosto. Di kes ko. Ma sa ko so di party te. Di party fear long te bak na rien ko so.
Violated the law, didn't it, Dr. Fauci? Didn't it? It violated the law, didn't it? It is a question. You can answer. Go ahead.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Federal law, as you very well know, prohibit...
An halboga Fifth Amendment. Ni ka chumbak achimicho. Fifth Amendment law. Teka. Achimite. Zaid na achimno chimchok ha ka thewil ha. Ma ka am fiel chang ate. Le opokaman ka thaitin ha lo chong. Bia le opokaman thaitin ha lo. Ma karwa har bakse di party jan fiel tuk na kate.
Advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my right. On the advice of counsel.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What is the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution? Very, very well done. Mr. Fauci, do you know who David Schertler is?
Dr. Fauci, David Schertler timi pahin na thai mo tise.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Ma ka kaima pum ben him nak ding cha Fifth Amendment kamhan.
Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. What does the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution say?
Fifth Amendment, the Constitution to me pung tham bini zaida achim du mi se.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution.
Kaima pum ben him nak ding cha Fifth Amendment kamhan. Fifth Amendment jo zaida asulam se chim tua. Ma han cha thai ti lo chimu.
No, I'm just asking you what it says.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I'm going to give the Constitution to my aide. He'll bring it over to you so you can have it for future reference. I think it's something that every American should. Wow. Well, let me tell you who David Shartler is for the audience, because he was ejected by the chairman as bribes from.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Clearly, what you think today is that somehow you're above reproach. Somehow you feel COVID pandemic, you were called a racist for calling the virus a Wuhan virus or the China virus. If you thought the 6-foot rule was total crap, if you thought the vaccine wasn't something that you should take, if you thought it was outrageous the way the mask policy was rolled out, if you were fired from your job for not taking that vaccine, including members of the military, if you thought closing schools was catastrophic, Dr. Fauci, can you just turn around and look at the people behind you? You're not willing to do that? That's not a question. It's not a question. To your lawyers, not a question. It's a request. All you have to do is look up from your lawyers and look at the people who were absolutely shamed for saying what we know now to be the truth. You can't even look at them? That's a question. Are you able to look at them? You can sit down in the audience. There was.
Atimi biya mi jo Dr. Fauci Piruk Ladin nen umlai nati siang en khar ra ka pulha vaccine a chunlomi pulha riam phu nati rian tol mo employee pulha siang na riam phu nanti na rian am phu na man ha pul nan huka nan huan dear lo nan hulai mel lo zo na lo sorry tin ha ti se zo du bak na lo atimi jo my right Fifth Amendment ka an rak phiar ning le li anak chim ning jo kharo har bak chok jo.
They hadn't been out much. The kids had been learning at school, and then the school got shut down. Alone, far from everybody else, just a mom, a dad, a few kids. Dr. Fauci, do you know what happened to that mom and that family? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
More interested in having met a Kardashian than the suffering of the American people. And that is you, Mom, for watching a football and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total.
Matiang Haselotem. Atimi jo atu he ria ke COVID-19 kon huwa kumruk sijang. Le natu mi tilbiati he zautika shokshol. Long tisi. Siang tampian kar chen zauza ri tampian puan ha. Riesra kap tampian am puan ha. Menung tampian ti sijung an chi ailo an chen ha an ti. Ma timi pulha ka ai tha te pia ka che andam ko na rong te in asi karian is nature hen kan pek nang mani tua hen ui chu pa nang ma ruang a jesra ka jes menong tam to kan ti na ma ban tuk ui chu pulha ni hen rianan tuan ruang a ting halo bing menong tam to kan ti si zung akang halaw ding tam tuk an angkal e nama ruanga yes mapi tampi anu nakalya business tampi arian yan po na andit na company tampi kar atuan dia chang kau tilaw Dr. Fauci jo mai che ko ka namhu ko lama chimika nama ui chu pa karian kan bek senator pe tua Mang bang za si Mang pa ka Mang bang za wak si Yes na An halmi bia Te Nika chung an halmi bia ti ju Fifth Amendment Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Nanay tayo day songa thela, nanupi day songa Fifth Amendment. COVID-19 sinang piak mia zay sa si Fifth Amendment. Maka di party sa kocho. Di party jo maka ansi am fier tuk na ka karo harbak se. Mazu si Dr. Fauci atu jo nalong phim ko lo mo. Tu chuna narhok thol nak le. Telukin China Wuhan virus ni achang ko mia pe nga peruk inati tipo ka nan chim. Aselaw to kan kwanak rakhang narak tua. Narhok thol longte raksi. Disko sakcho. Maka ay nang putam ka bian halte. Bian hala kamazon halai.
Dr. Fauci invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 100 times today. Senator Rand Paul said he's going to hold a vote on holding him in contempt of Congress. Do you think Dr. Fauci should face repercussions for this?
Well, I watched the whole thing today, but more importantly, I was a part of the whole Fauci. I inherited Fauci. He was here from the 1980s, so I had him for a period of time. And I disagreed with him on a lot. I would have had to close down the whole country if I listened to him. I went the Federalist way, which is basically let the governors decide. And generally speaking, the Republican governors did very well. The Democrat governors did not very well. But Fauci wanted to have nobody wearing masks, if you remember, and then everybody had to wear 5 masks, as many masks as you.
Kam putam kabian halte. Dr. Fauci tu chuna biya hal na kan boizer yang lau Fifth Amendment ka amang. Biya lin halaw. Zait nanarwa ning tika biya hal nang tu mse. Dr. Fauci chu ke biyan halmi ka adi tiang chu kazaw dilaw naan. Kazaw mi chung chen Fifth Amendment ka amhan mi chuse. Chu chung chen aw mi Fifth Amendment ka panang no chu aw sunan. Antua mi zaw tika biya an halmi po Fifth Amendment pandi chu karo harase. Chen Joe Biden ni ken pardon ti mi ngai tiam na karak pia. Ma ngai tiam na pia mi ka President ngai tiam na pia mi ka ho pia pung salo.
Prime time in terms of that whole disaster of COVID. Far people died, fewer in the Trump administration than in the Biden administration. We ran it well. Operation Warp Speed was talked about as being one of the great success stories anywhere in the world, actually. And we did a good job. But many more people died under Biden than died in the Trump administration from COVID. COVID was a disaster, but Fauci did not help.
Ma ka atimi cho Joe Biden ne ngai thiam nak atua mi ka se. Ma ngai thiam nak atua mi cho ro piak phung salo president pakhan hi. Superpower ka nei mi ve mi se. Da sam na beten keima president ka tuen chung na khan Joe Biden chunga ka athi mi an tam dio. Chen mor hop ati peruk ati. Ma pol ma chu vaccine chunlo mi pol ha ka riam pho ati. Ma pol ka sile ma ka chu arak silaw mi asi li rok rol anak tu mi ka sikau tika achim mi jose. Chen Ukraine lay sorry Iran lay ka na kong. Ma Iran lay ka na kong ka ma dong halate. Ma Iran ka na kong ha cham ni pizul in kan ka lay. Pizul kan ka lay Iran he adok han law po kan ka lay ti se. Tu se ma adok han law kan ka lay zaitin da narwa ning asi tika se. Zaitin narwa ning si ti sila Iran he kan ka lay kan did lay adok na ka big kan tlai hip lay. Atu belte he omi chu ate US le Israel chombiak na kan nei mi a becha na big decision kan tu rilo. Ma he Trump order ka kang hak ti se. Trump order ka kang hak Trump ni order atua a ka kal changu ka changu to changu ti asia chen Iran ka atua ka din ka skau ti se. Trump ni timi chu Iran ni zaitik manang nuclear power anay lalo ti chu kan chim na. Ka chimi ka simple se. Mazu si Iran ni nuclear power anay lalo. Atu นิวเคลียร์อันเชนักดังปีค่ะมาค่ะ US นี่กันหลากหลายที่เสียอะตุเฮียอันทีมตัวบิ๊กมีพวกเขาจู US นี่นิวเคลียร์พาวเวอร์อันเชนักมาตั้งค่ะมาค่ะอะตุเฮียหลักอันดิบมาเสร็จอะตุเฮียซาอุดิอาระเบีย US และอิสราเอลจอยอันเสียมาถ้าพวกเขาอับบอมินก้าจังมินเสียจะส่งอาจารย์ยูเครนนี่อิหร่านนักเวมาเสร็จอิหร่านจะอาจจะเดรัวชนะข้าติลาวอาทิตย์มิจูกันก้าจังลักโลอาจจะเดลิมลักโลข้าหาวใจข้าชิมออกติลาวชิมหาวติลาวเห็นมาเฮกันลิมลักโลข้าหาวอารวงบิจูอิหร่านนิวเคลียร์พาวเวอร์เฮอาศัยอันนั้นอิสระอิสราเอลจูอดีบักเตียเตอิสราเอลจูอดีจุดจ้าฉันอิสราเอลอดีเราหน้าดิ้งจ้าเห็นกันเกี่ยวเวนข้าแบบปีมิจูเซ่จุดจ้าฉันโดนจิตทำนี่ก็มุติมีแล้วก็ชิมิจูก็ตัวเรื่องไล่มาก็ตัวมินิเห็นเซติกมานะอิหร่านนิวเคลียร์อันนี้ไล่เราตีข้าการักชิมิข้าสิมาก็ชิมิจูอาฉันอตุฮีก็ตัวมิจูเซ่จนฮามูสคอนโทรลนักกัน US นี่กันคอนโทรลจุลองสลาว US เนี่ยตัวเฮียเคสตั้มปีกันในจังจีนันเลยจีนันพวกกันตั้มปีกันในจังไอ้เด้ US จะอาจจะพันออกใจพันเรามา US จะพันออกเราตัวอีกมาเตียนอีกเวนนักกันตัวโจมาค่ะอาศัยเขาจุดจ้าจน US นี่เห็นอิหร่านจูกัลิมไลอดีตยังก้าวคนไลจู่ทรัมป์เบียร์กับชิมิซีมาเบลเจอิหร่านนิวเคลียร์พาวเวอร์เช่นนั้นตั้งขจูกันก้าวไลโมกันหลากหลายดูหลากดิ่งกันในทีมตัวที่ข้าเสียหลากดิ่งทีมตัวข้าเสียจนยูเครนและรัสเซียโดนัลด์ทรัมป์นี่ไลเซนอเปียกนะพาร์เน็ตกันที่ไรเจ้ายูเครนนี่ long range missile เลยdefense system ปุ่นหาดุงจีกันที่ไรมั้งมาปุ่นหาก็การนักดิ่งจ้าตัวเฮอเปียกไหนจะหันอ่ะ permit อเปียกนักสิอามาที่อิสราเอลยูเครนรามาดุงจีกันนักมาปุ่นหาอามาชิมหาไรอันเสียมเบลัยอามาที่เป็นอย่างไรรัสเซียก็การนักสิมาขัดตัวเฮอันเปียกนะรัสเซียจะจนส่งสลักนังอันตักอันตองเบมาคัสส่งสลักนังอันตักอันตองมีชงอาจนอตุฮียูเครนอลักเซียมีครีเมียข้าอตุจูยูเครนยังข้าแทนคัสอันจะหารักงันเปลี่ยนตองมาที่ยังจูกันเทโคตกเสเจสละพงนิงเราอลุดมีใจทมากดทมาอันเสร็จข้าประเทศนี้จันทาจันส่งเลยกันเปียสลาวเทกันต้องชันทางอะไรกันมุชันไหลหลายปากกงนิวส์มีเฮไงเปียงกระดูกโกอติมีนั่นมุเสสเตจุดทุบเลยเดียวกัลจังไหลกันที่ขโมยภายทานตุยดูซาเตกันกัลจังไหลจะจงข้า Facebook เลยกันมันท่าไหลกันที่คนนั้นอาชารีเรากันที่ละเสียหลายมีช่วงดีปาร์ตี้โพลจงเฟียร์มหังปากโอไหลดา CBC USA ดีปาร์ตี้ช่วยตัวตาอันตามใช่ไหมเสร็จแล้วกันต้องชันกันมุชันแล้วไปรีลงนั่งคอมเมนต์แค่เขาดีก็